na lumalabas dun sa press conference na marami ang palalayasin dito sa Canada.
Last year, the CBSA removed over 16,800 individuals from Canada. That's more than double compared to 2021. Through our border plan, we're investing additional resources to further increase removals by another 25% this year. Let me highlight some of the key measures we have already taken. As of December 23rd, we ended the practice of flagpoling.
Eto na naman tayo mga kababayan with another update. Kamusta mga kababayan? Salamat sa Diyos at mayroon na naman tayong isang mabuting pagkakataon na magkita-kitang muli, at ang dalangin ko pong parati sa Diyos, sana kayo ay laging nasa mabuting kalagayan. At ngayong araw na ito, ang pag-uusapan natin ay patungkol dun sa recent na news conference ni Federal Minister Mark Miller and David Ginty. Siya po ay nasa public safety. At ang pinag-usapan doon sa press conference kahapon is the government's initiative and investment. Uy, ano yun? May nahulog doon sa likuran ko. So the government's investment and initiative on strengthening Canada border security and immigration system. So yan yung naging tema ng usapan doon sa press conference kahapon.
Okay, good morning everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Thank you for joining us. Now that the introductions have been done, I wanted to make a few opening remarks as Canada's new Minister of Public Safety. The border between Canada and the United States is the most secure and well-managed border in the world. It facilitates trade and travel while preventing illegal migration and threats to the security of both countries, including fentanyl and other drugs. That's thanks to the tireless and dedicated law enforcement partners on both sides of the border who work together day in and day out to keep both countries safe. At 1,200 ports of entry. In Canada, 8,500 frontline personnel are preventing illegal goods and inadmissible people from entering Canada. In British Columbia this week, I've just returned having met with the RCMP's Marine Border Enforcement Team and visited the Border Integrity Operations Center. Through joint efforts from Canada and the United States, less than 1% of the illegal drugs and crossings into the United States came from Canada. We have a strong border, and we are building a stronger one. An interconnected system to keep each other safe. And nowhere is this more apparent than Canada's firefighters assisting American crews fighting the worst wildfires Los Angeles has ever seen. Canada and the United States have a long, mutually beneficial relationship that keeps our economy strong and our people safe. This hasn't changed at all. To keep it that way, we must always work to maintain and improve that relationship. When it comes to border security, we are tackling the flow of illegal drugs, guns, and irregular migration. At the federal level, we have been absolutely committed to working with all provinces and territories as we meet these challenges head-on for both Canada and the United States. I'd like to sincerely thank our provincial and territorial partners who are working hard to provide additional assistance to defend Canada's border under our Team Canada approach, especially Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, who have stepped up. And to the incredible businesses who are working with us, thank you also for your outreach and engagement with your American counterparts. We must work together to protect our people, our jobs, and our economy. Last month, our government presented a comprehensive border plan to bolster the security of our shared border and further increase the level of collaboration with our American counterparts. That border plan invests $1.3 billion to further strengthen our border security with more personnel, more tools, advanced technology, drones, surveillance equipment, and helicopters. These investments are already helping to enhance Canada's border surveillance. Let me highlight some of the key measures we have already taken. As of December 23rd, we ended the practice of flag polling, which occurred when foreign nationals left Canada for a short time, only to re-enter Canada to access immigration services more quickly. Ending this practice will allow border officers to fully concentrate on border enforcement, saving 8,000 days of work for border agents. We've deployed 60 new drones along our border with the United States, and we will be deploying additional surveillance towers. We are acquiring new technology, such as X-rays, mobile X-rays, and handheld chemical analyzers. As of this week, we are deploying new helicopters at the Canada-US border. These will help us to further enhance our border surveillance and our intelligence operations, again with our American partners. As further proof of our strong relationship with the United States, Canada is launching the first ever pre-clearance operation in the US at Cannon Corners, New York, which I visited last week. With this operation, we'll be the first country to establish pre-clearance on US soil, where Canadian Border Services officers will work at a shared facility alongside US officers. To minimize the number of individuals trying to cross the border illegally between ports of entry, and to keep dangerous individuals out of North America, we've increased the CBSA and RCMP's surge capacity. Last year, the CBSA removed over 16,800 individuals from Canada. That's more than double compared to 2021. Through our border plan, we're investing additional resources to further increase removals by another 25% this year. As of January 6th, the CBSA adjusted its hours of service at land ports of entry to align with those of the United States. This will allow both countries to use our resources more efficiently, as we'll be able to deploy officers to busier ports of entry when required. Au cours des 2 dernières semaines, the CBSA is our country's first line of defense to stop illegal drugs and precursor chemicals from entering and exiting Canada. The RCMP also continues its efforts to detect, to investigate, and to disrupt criminal threats by targeting transnational and serious organized crime groups involved in the production and the trafficking of illegal substances, including opioids. To ensure law and border enforcement have the tools they need to detect and address fentanyl and its precursors, a huge challenge for this country and the United States, we've invested $77.7 million to expand Health Canada's laboratory and regulatory capabilities. These measures I've just outlined are the steps we have taken just as of late. We will continue to work with our American partners to ensure that our border is the most secure and efficient in the world. The foundation of the Canada-US relationship is strong, and Canada looks forward to continuing our work with our neighbors and our partners. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Minister Miller.
Thanks, David. Over the last year, we've taken a series of actions to reinforce the integrity of our immigration system and programs contributing to the collective effort to ensure public safety and the orderly management of the shared border with the U.S. Both countries recognize and agree that a robust, well-managed immigration system is essential to building a safer, stronger North American perimeter. A well-managed immigration system doesn't mean the government is abandoning quintessentially Canadian values. It's actually quite the contrary. These values depend on a well-managed system that bolsters that integrity that people can trust. And Canadians can also trust that immigration remains central to our national identity and critical to our well-being, as well as our long-term prosperity. That being said, there's no question that an increased migration of different natures has led to significant rise in the number of people seeking asylum in safe countries like Canada, one of the safest, if not the safest in the world. And despite having the best immigration and refugee system in the world, it's been a challenge to keep up. Unfortunately, it's also caused more bad actors to come out of the shadows looking to exploit those who are at their most vulnerable as they take a very difficult decision to move to another country and to profit over those seeking a better life. In response, we've taken decisive steps throughout the last year to strengthen our asylum system, including proposing new consequences for those who try to exploit it. Canada and the US have a long history of collaborating to uphold the integrity of our respective systems. That means, first and foremost, working together. In January, after finding significant evidence of patterns of abuse in our visitor visas, we put in place new measures to detect fraud. And since then, we've made and seen a major reduction in the number of asylum claims from people who've been issued temporary resident visas. And visa refusals are also up by more than 61% with countries where we spotted the highest levels of abuse. You've been distributed a number of charts that evidence that in a more graphic way. You can do with those what you will, but there's a number of important data points we think are significant that chart the course of the progress that's been achieved over the last year. Together, these actions not only enhance Canada's ability to manage those who enter the country, but also strengthen border security. They've also proven effective at protecting the Canada-US border from irregular southbound crossings. After we imposed the partial visa requirement that I mentioned earlier for Mexican nationals, we've seen a rapid decline in Canada being used as a backdoor into the US. A number of the Mexican nationals intercepted while trying to cross illegally has fallen by 72% since June alone. I can also report that our heightened scrutiny of visitor visa applications has led to an 89% overall reduction in foreign nationals crossing illegally into the United States over that same period. And since launching our system to verify every study permit application that corresponds with an authentic letter of acceptance, which has been a challenge over the last year, from an accredited post-secondary learning institution, we see a 91% drop in legal U.S. crossings by those with and those holding Canadian study permits. Similarly, the flow of information between countries is also crucial to a safe and orderly migration, adding to our existing processes of sharing relevant data on foreign nationals applying to immigrate to either country. We've extended our information sharing agreement with the Americans and will now share immigration-related information on permanent residents in both Canada and the US. This information is really mission critical to having a safe border. And by granting this extensions, both countries are better equipped to screen applicants and make informed migration decisions and also prevent fraud. The bottom line is that we've taken steps and taken measures that we're implementing and they're working. There are clear signs of that: reduced southbound apprehensions, fewer asylum claims, less fraud and abuse. This is concrete, important progress. I generally believe in our ability to continue working with the incoming administration because the fact is that this collaboration is in the shared interests of both Canadians and Americans. On that, thank you. And both David and I are happy to take your questions.
Hanggang dyan lang po muna yung video. Kung gusto nyo pong mapanood yung kabuuan ng videong ito, including yung Q&A, ay sabihin nyo po sa akin at ibibigay ko po sa inyo yung link. And so yun lang mga kababayan, yung update natin ngayon. And sa mga susunod na pagkakataon, kung meron tayong makikitang mga balita patungkol sa immigration and anything to do na maaaring maka-affect sa inyo na mga naandito sa Canada, do sa mga, lalo na do sa mga kababayan natin, mga temporary pa lang ang status dito sa Canada. So, I hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, more tips, informations, opportunities to come, buhay natin dito sa Canada. I will see you, God willing, on my next video. Samahan nawa kayong parati ng Panginoon sa inyong pang-araw-araw na buhay. At kung meron po kayong katanungan, don't hesitate. Leave a comment below. I will see you on my next video. Alright,